Pickathon. We'll see you, man.
People say that we look like sisters somehow, something in the eyes, and I'd say, well, you know, I'm flattered, and she'd say, yeah, right. I've always been so careful. Nobody more faithful. She's always been so careful. Nobody more faithful. When she moved out, sometimes he'd call me. I never should have answered. Sometimes you give, you're giving all you have. And sometimes you're the taker of the whole world when it's slid my way. And I didn't want nothing, so unequal, like unearned praise, like someone I don't recognize, was looking back from my own eyes. We'd sit and we find ourselves talking for hours, and sometimes she would cry, waving her hands, thought to ward off something. Telling you she's fine. Sometimes you have to decide what is wrong and what could be right. But I was too kind. I was on every side, as though to try to make amends.
kind of late coming to you, and I think a lot of people maybe are thinking of you as this new artist that's appeared, seemingly fully formed. Oh. But you've been at this a little while, 9 years. The Weather Station's been around.
Well, I mean, it's really only a couple years that I've been doing this type of music. So I started out sort of with experimental music. That was 9 years ago. So. And
that was the Weather Station. You called that the Weather Station.
The Weather Station.
What's that? What is that? That transition been like? That evolution then?
Well, you know, I mean, I started out in my, I had this like walk-in closet, and I just decided to start recording music, even though I didn't know any musicians and I didn't know anything about music. I mean, I knew something about music. I've always sang, and I took piano lessons, but I decided I was going to record music. So it's been a very long journey. And then, you know, over the years, I joined bands and formed a band and started writing songs, and so yeah, it's been a long journey.
And you started on banjo, right? That was your first instrument?
Yeah.
So when you started writing for more guitar-based songs like you're doing now, how did that go? What was that transition like?
Well, I mean, that's why I play in weird tunings, because I never properly learned guitar. I just learned banjo and then transferred banjo over to guitar. So I play in open tunings.
I think your voice is really, in many of your songs, it almost comes across as another instrument, because it's very ethereal. A lot of songs, you know, they're almost whispered. Mm-hmm. And has that been a process for you? Have you always sung in that way, or has that also been something that's evolved over the course of your records?
I don't know. I think I just always sang. Like I say, I sang since I was a little kid, and so singing is just sort of a natural thing. I don't really think about it that much. I never took singing lessons or anything. I think it's just, you know, when I'm playing alone or when I'm playing with a trio, it's like that's like the one melodic instrument I have. You know, the guitar is kind of locked to all the stuff I got to play to get the song across. So when I'm singing, that's where I can kind of take flight, I guess. You know.
The songs are confessional. I mean, they're very personal. They seem like. Is that ever strange to you, not only to be delivering them to an audience, but I would gather that the songs themselves are you know, they feel personal to you, so turning them over to a collaborator, I mean, is that ever something that you deal with? Yeah,
I mean, I think at first I remember being like, oh no, like, you know, when I got together with someone to play, or if I played them a song, I'd be like, oh no, what are they thinking? Like, do they know this is about this? But then over the years, you just realize, you're like, well, now that it's a song, it's something else, and it's socially acceptable to play very personal songs in front of people for some reason, so I get away with it.
The Weather Station, everybody. Thanks for coming.